Good evening. The trade deadline has concluded. Me and Coach were live a little bit earlier, breaking down what we knew at the time. The we had to hop offline for a little bit, and just when we thought that we were done, some trades were made pretty much 5 minutes after we hopped off. The Tigers have finally traded Jack Flaherty as well as Mark Canha. We'll start with the Flaherty deal. Flaherty is being dealt to the LA Dodgers for Thayron Lorenzo and Trey Sweeney. Lorenzo is 21 years old. He's a switch hitting catcher and first baseman prospect. He's the third ranked prospect in the Dodgers system. He is currently in Upper A, which at the Tigers level would be the Whitecaps. So I'm sure he'll report there. I believe he played in the Futures game this year. Didn't have an amazing slash line. He hit 220. His batting average is 220, and he hit 7 home runs. As far as he's obviously a ways off. I mean, he is a primary catcher who also plays first base, but he is a ways off from making an impact at the major league level. He's only 21 years old, and like I said, he's a third-ranked prospect, so a pretty prized prospect, but nobody that I don't think that they were willing to just say we just can't part with him, especially because he's gotten off to such a slow start. Trey Sweeney, he was currently at the Double-A level. He's 24 years old, so quite a bit older. He's a left-handed hitter, and he plays shortstop. He's like a taller, bigger guy, but he's a decent athlete. They don't believe that he will play shortstop at the highest level, but currently that's the position he plays, which is somewhat intriguing given the fact that we are very weak at the shortstop position, which I'm sure was taken into consideration. Obviously, we have Zach McKinstry, who, ironically, also from the Dodgers, is a below average all-around player. And he's already at the Double-A level, so they're thinking that he may get an outside opportunity to play this year. But he's hitting 254. He's got 13 home runs. I think he's got like 50-some RBI. So pretty good hitting production as of right now. And hopefully he can be a bat that can help us and somebody that we can start to evaluate the value of the trade. Obviously, we're giving up our second best pitcher on the team, who we obviously were looking to dump for prospects because he is older. He was going to be commanding a bunch of money, and he's had some back issues. So I think everybody expected the value to be a little bit more, and we may have played the waiting game a little too long to where we had to get what we could get. But as of right now, that's what we got going on. As far as the Dodger deal, he might be competing. Luckily, we don't have to play the Dodgers anymore. We already got them out of the way on the schedule, but it's a chance that he'll be competing for a World Series this year. The last and final deal of the trade deadline, as far as the Tigers is concerned, is Mark Canha to the San Francisco Giants. Eric Silva, I believe his name is Eric Silva. For some reason, I didn't write it down. I wrote his stats down. But obviously, we knew that Eric Silva, we knew that Mark Canha was an older player. I said right before we left that I don't see any reason to continue to see him get a ton of at-bats, being that he's older. He's not going to be back next year. He was solid for us. He played some decent defense on the corners and at first base. But it's time to give the young outfielders that look. So I really was impressed for what I wasn't really impressed for what we would get back in return for him. I knew it wouldn't be very much because he didn't have an amazing year, just probably a below average year. But obviously, best of luck to him in San Francisco. He is a professional. He is a guy that can give you some good at bats. He's going to get on base because he has he has elite plate discipline, but Eric Silva is at the AA level. He's only 21 years old, which is intriguing. He's 4-2 this year with a 4.35 ERA and 51 strikeouts. He's a guy that's going to report to Erie, and he's young. He still has some upside. I didn't get an opportunity to really look into him as far as what his makeup is and what he brings to the table, but I'm not mad at 4-2 with a 4.35 ERA at the age of 21. There's still some room for him to grow, obviously. But yeah, this will give an opportunity for our outfielders to make some room in the outfield. When Riley Green comes back, Parker Meadows comes back, and obviously we already have Velade, Malloy, Perez. These guys can get as many at bats as necessary. Obviously, Blythe Madris is playing first base right now, along with Gio. Gio's playing a lot of third base. Oh yeah, Veerling's in the outfield as well. So we were at a log jam in the outfield. We don't trade away any of our core, our young guys. Veerling's still here, Perez is still here, Malloy's still here. All of our young guys are still around. We pretty much just dumped older guys that we didn't see a part of our future for one reason or another. I mean, Canha's pretty obvious. Flaherty on the border, but he's gone. Essentially, we can still bring him back. Who's to say we can't? Dodgers may decide that they don't want to pay him that. So that's still on the table. Can't really trip too much on it, but it wasn't a great return when it's all said and done. So, but yeah, that concludes the trade deadline. The other episode we did earlier today, reviewing the Chafin trade, is out on YouTube and on all streaming platforms already, so you can check that episode out as well. And we'll be back with another show on Sunday, talking further about the trades, and hopefully the Tigers have won some games, but we're definitely going to get a good look at some of our young players, and we'll be watching closely at the new prospects that are now on the team. As a whole, I grade the situation at C-ish. We're still yet to be seen. Obviously, Theron is a ways off, so it's really hard to judge that trade as of right now. Flaherty, it was a foregone conclusion that we were going to be moving him. I did hold out some hope that we might try to re-sign him and build a nice little pitching staff around him, but they chose to not go that direction. So we're right here. So I'm not going to go too long. Been a long day. So I'll let you guys real soon. If something else comes up, any more roster moves happen, I'll be back. So I'm out.